Hi, welcome to this video on invitations and replies. I will try to quickly summarize all the important points including description, types, uses and format. First of all, the basic points about invitation. An invitation is written to invite somebody to an event. The events may vary from being a school function, a family function, or any function to be organized by any organization. Invitations are of two types, informal and formal. The informal invitations are casual in nature. Formal invitations have to follow particular rules. For example, first person pronouns I, we, me, us, my, our are avoided in case of formal invitations. So are second person pronouns you and your. Just like a notice, formal invitations are written in third person. Informal invitations are written to friends, relatives, or family members. That is why they can be casual in terms of language. Formal invitations are generally written to dignitaries. The purpose is to request them to be chief guest or guest of honor in a function. That is why the language is supposed to be dignified and rules are to be particularly followed while writing an invitation in formal manner. Invitations may be written to many people at the same time. They may also be written to a particular person. For example, to request somebody to be chief guest in a function, a invitation will be written to a particular person. Or if someone wants to invite many people in a particular function, then the same invitation card can work for all the people at the same time. Invitations may be written in two different forms. One is called card form and the other is called letter form. Now some basic points about the replies to invitations. Replies are made either to accept an invitation or to reject it, and that is the main thing that is mentioned in the replies. They again are of two types, formal and informal. Informal replies are replies to informal invitations. That is why they can be casual in terms of language as well as in terms of tone. Formal replies are replies to formal invitations. That is why a formal language is used to draft formal replies. For example, again, first and second person pronouns are generally avoided. Replies to invitations are generally written in the form of letter. Invitations can be written in form of card as well as letter, but replies generally are written in the form of letter. Now, if we talk about formal invitations in card form, they are just like any invitation that we get for a wedding function. The invitation cards for wedding ceremonies are the most common examples of formal invitations in card form. Formal replies or formal invitations to be written in form of a letter follow almost the same format as is followed while writing a formal letter. Information that is necessary to be included in an invitation: name of the invitee, the person who is inviting. For example, if it is a school function, then principals, staff, and students of so and so school. If it is a family function, for example, if it is a function to be organized by Mrs. and Mr. Gupta, then they would be the invitees. The occasion of the event is to be mentioned specifically because the invitation would become meaningless if the function is not mentioned, what function is to be organized. Date and time are two of the most important things to be included in an invitation if someone has to respond to it in a positive manner. Venue is to be mentioned. If there is any chief guest in the function, that can be mentioned. And finally, RSVP. RSVP is a French term which basically means please respond. So below RSVP, we mention the name of the person who could be contacted to reply to respond, or just to acknowledge that the invitation has been received. Now, the format of formal invitation in letter form. On the very top, we mentioned sender's address. It comes on the left hand side. As we discussed earlier, that in such cases, the format of a formal letter is followed with just a couple of changes. After sender's address comes the date, again on the left hand side, then the receiver's address, then the subject, which can be a simple phrase mentioning invitation to so and so party or something like that. Then salutation, respected sir or sir, something like that. Now, the major differences between formal letter and formal invitation are: firstly, in case of formal invitation, the content is to be written in a single paragraph. In case of formal letters, we follow 3 paragraphs, but in case of formal invitation, a single paragraph is used. And in case of formal invitation, third person is to be used throughout the content. First person and second person pronouns are avoided. Instead of mentioning yours sincerely at the end, as is the case in formal letters, RSVP is mentioned followed by the name. Now, all invitations and replies are to be enclosed in a box. This is also to be kept in mind. Now, a sample exercise of formal invitation in letter form. An invitation is to be written to the MLA of Vikas Nagar, Mr. Shyam Prakash, and he is to be requested to become chief guest at book fair to be organized at your school. And you are the president of Literary Club of Ryan International School, Delhi. So this is the solution for this invitation, a sample solution. The president, Literary Club, Ryan International School, Delhi, that is the sender's address, the date. Remember that the word date is not to be used, only the date is to be mentioned, and this is the appropriate format to write the date. 1. Complete name of the month, October, and complete year, 2020. Now, the receiver of the address is Mr. Shyam Prakash. We mention his designation in the bracket, MLA. Then MLA's office, Vikas Nagar. Another difference between formal letters and formal invitation in letter form is that in case of formal letters, we do not include the name in sender's address or the receiver's address, but in case of formal invitation, name can be included. Subject is invitation to grace the book fair as chief guest. Sir, the principal, the staff, and the students of Ryan International School seek the gracious presence of Mr. Shyam Prakash, MLA, at the school on 10 October 2020 as the chief guest for the book fair. The program begins at 10 a.m. RSVP is principal. So let us discuss the major inclusions in this exercise. Sender's address on the top, then date, and then receiver's address. We have included the name of the receiver in the receiver's address. Then subject is something very usual. Now, as we discussed, that formal invitation is to be written in third person. That is why it is not mentioned that we invite you. Instead, it is mentioned that the principal, the staff, and the students invite Mr. Shyam Prakash, MLA. So that is how formal invitation is to be written in third person. Now, the important things to be included. First of all, who is inviting? The principal, the staff, and the students of Ryan International School. Then, what is the function? The function is book fair. That also has been mentioned in the content. Then, the venue is at the school, so that also has been mentioned. The date of the function has been mentioned, 10 October 2020. The timing for the function is also mentioned. In case the receiver wants to contact back to respond to this invitation, then we have mentioned that the person can contact the principal. Now the format of formal invitation in card form, it is just like a wedding card. We all are familiar with wedding cards, so we have to prepare formal invitation in card form in a similar manner. Invitee, the person who is inviting, seeks your benign presence at the occasion of, any phrase will do which is similar to this. Event, the name of the event is to be mentioned. On, date is to be mentioned. Venue is to be mentioned. Timing for the program is to be mentioned. If there is a chief guest, then Mr. ABC will be the chief guest on the occasion. That also can be mentioned. On the very bottom will be RSVP on the left hand side, followed by the name of the person who could be contacted in case more information is required about the function, or just an acknowledgement is to be sent. Everything comes in the center, and we can use different size of fonts to highlight the important things. The important things in the content, if you could see, are the names of the invitees, the event, the date, the venue, and time. So we have used bigger format for bigger font for mentioning these things. The size of font can be varied to highlight the more important things in the information, and everything is to be enclosed in a box. This is to be kept in mind. So a sample exercise for card form: prepare an invitation from the side of Mrs. and Mr. Sharma for the housewarming party of their newly built house. Now Mrs. and Mr. Sharma have got a house built. They are throwing a housewarming party and they want to invite people to that party. So this is a sample invitation that can be used. Mrs. and Mr. Sharma, if you can see, they have been highlighted by increasing the size of the font. Seek your benign presence on the auspicious occasion of housewarming party. Again, what is important? Housewarming party. So that has been highlighted, of their newly built house at 17 ABC Colony, New Delhi. The address has been given, the venue, on, the date has been given, the program has been mentioned. It can be mentioned this way also. And then RSVP, again the same people are RSVP in this case who are sending the invitation. Format for formal replies: sender's address. Now if you have received an invitation and you have to reply for it in a formal manner, then again the format of formal letter will be followed with some slight changes. Sender's address, date, followed by receiver's address, then subject, reply for invitation. This is just an example of how subject could be mentioned. Then salutation, then within a single paragraph, acknowledgement also, that thanks for the invitation or the invitation has been received, and then statement of acceptance of invitation or rejection of invitation, as may be the case. And it is to be kept in mind that this will again be written in third person. At the very bottom comes yours sincerely, because this is not an invitation, this is a reply. That is why RSVP will not be mentioned, yours sincerely will be mentioned. Now they are all to be enclosed in a box. All the examples that have been discussed here, they have all been enclosed in a box. You can keep that in mind. Now sample exercise of formal replies. The question is that you have to prepare a reply on behalf of a famous writer, Mr. Varun Mehla. He was invited to be chief guest at annual function of Vinayak College. However, he is not able to become the chief guest there. So that is why he is writing this reply to mention that he would have to reject the invitation. So if you can see, the content is enclosed in a box. So the sender is Varun Mehla, and we have chosen any random address because the particular address has not been given to us. So ABC Colony, Delhi, then the date, then the receiver is the principal of Vinayak College. Subject is inability to accept invitation, sir. Now again keep it in mind that it has been written in third person not in first person or second person. So Mr. Mehla acknowledges thankfully that he has received an invitation to be the chief guest at annual function of Vinayak College. So he has acknowledged that he has received the invitation. He has also thanked for it, but he regrets that due to prior arrangements he is unable to accept the invitation. So whenever it is to be rejected, some such phrase is used that we regret that we won't be able to attend the function because of some prior arrangement, because of another engagement or something like that. However, he extends his best wishes for the success of the function, so such wishes are to be extended. Now here, because it is written in third person, that is why yours sincerely is not required, because the name has already been mentioned twice, so there is no need to mention yours sincerely here. Now in case of informal invitations, sender's address will do. We do not need to mention receiver's address or date here, because informal invitations are written in casual manner, so there are not many rules to be followed there. Salutation again is a casual salutation, like dear friend, dear father, dear brother, anything like that can be there. Again, a single paragraph is to be used to mention everything that is there, because it is an invitation, so the important information, the necessary information has to be there, which includes the occasion, date, time and venue. The tone is to be casual, so the first person pronouns and second person pronouns can be used here. It is finished with yours sincerely, yours truly or something like that. The word faithfully is not appropriate to be used, and that is not to be used whether the exercise to be written as formal letter, formal invitation or informal invitation. All are to be enclosed in a box, just to remind you once again. And invitations to friends are always informal. This is to be kept in mind. Sometimes we may get a question that write a reply to an invitation that you received from your friend. So in that case, it won't be told to us whether the invitation is to be written in formal manner or informal manner. That is common sense, that anything to be written to a friend will not be formal. So sample exercise for informal reply, you have to write an invitation to your friend to invite him to a fair that is being organized in your locality. So the name of the sender and the address have been mentioned here. So here is the sample solution for the exercise. Insta Township, Gurgaon, that is the sender's address. Dear friend, I hope everything is good with you, because we have to be in casual tone here, that is why we can start like that in a friendly manner. We are organizing a fair in our locality from 10 October 2020 to 12 October 2020. It is going to be a good fun with lots of adventure activities, music, dance and food. Please spare time to become part of this wonderful experience. Yours sincerely, Sonu. So we can see that the tone here is very friendly. There is no formality there, there are no particular rules there. Things are being discussed on a friendly note. Now informal replies, the format: sender's address, then salutation, single paragraph. Just to remind you once again, yours sincerely. So only sender's address is to be written there, receiver's address is not required. Then in salutation, dear friend, a single paragraph and yours sincerely. Now there are some elements of format in case of invitations and replies to invitations which are to be kept in mind. Now the different elements and how they are to be presented in the invitations and replies, let us quickly discuss them. In case of sender's address, the name is not mentioned in formal letters, but the name can be used in case of invitations and replies. That is how formal letters and formal invitations and replies differ. In case of date, the acceptable formats are to 24 September 2020 without any comma anywhere, or September 24, 2020 20. So either of these formats can be used to mention date in any formal exercise. Date is not required in case of informal invitation or replies. In case of receiver's address, again, name is generally included in case of formal invitations and replies. However, the receiver's address is not required in case of informal invitations and replies. The subject is also not required in case of informal invitations and replies. In case of salutation, respected sir or sir, just like a formal letter, if it is a formal invitation or a formal reply to an invitation. In case of casual replies or casual invitations, the salutation can be an informal one, just like dear friend, dear brother, my dear friend, anything like that. In case of the content is to be written in a single paragraph. Again, one point where these things differ from formal letters, where the content is supposed to be 3 paragraphs. Then signing off, yours sincerely. This is a very common mistake that some students mention your or yours with an apostrophe. So they are both wrong. Now, signing off is not required in formal replies in letter form. So that is all for invitations and replies. That is an exercise that is introduced in 12th class in CBSE. So all the very best with that exercise. Thank you very much.